Your bank account isn't a mystery. It's math. And right now, you're on the wrong side of the equation. I know that sounds harsh, but stick with me for the next 6 minutes, because once you see the actual numbers, not the opinions, the numbers, you'll realize something nobody ever told you. You're not broke because you're lazy or bad with money. You're broke because of a pattern, and patterns can be changed. The pattern nobody admits. Okay, let's actually do this instead of just talking about it. Say you earn $40,000 a year. That's about $3,300 a month before we even touch take-home pay realities. Now watch where it goes. Rent, call it $1,500, which is honestly conservative in most cities right now. Car payment and insurance, $400. Phone and a few subscriptions, $150. Food, $500. That's $2,550. Gone, and we haven't touched the fun stuff yet. The coffee, the takeout, the weekend, the impulse Amazon order that showed up 2 days later and you forgot you even ordered. Here's a stat that might make you feel less alone in this. The Federal Reserve does a survey every single year asking Americans one blunt question. Could you cover a sudden $400 expense using cash or something equivalent? In their most recent report, only 63% said yes. That means more than a third of the country, over 100 million adults, could not absorb a busted tire or a dead water heater without borrowing or scrambling. So if you feel like you're the only one white-knuckling it to payday, you're not. You're in the majority-adjacent club. And here's the part that keeps people stuck. They never actually see their own numbers written down. It lives in their head as, I just can't save. But it's not a personality trait. It's arithmetic, and arithmetic doesn't care how hard you work this week. The real culprit, lifestyle creep. Now here's where it gets sneaky, and this is the part almost nobody talks about. This isn't just about being bad at math. It's something researchers actually have a name for, lifestyle creep. When you got your first raise, that extra $200 a month, what happened? Be honest. Did you save it? Or did something in your life quietly get nicer? A better apartment, a new phone plan, more takeout, because hey, you earned it. That's lifestyle creep, and it is not a fringe problem. A 2025 Goldman Sachs report found that 40% of households earning $500,000 a year still feel like they're living paycheck to paycheck. Let that sit for a second. $500,000. And a survey from Debt.org found that over a third of Americans earning six figures say the same thing. This isn't a you problem. It's a math and psychology problem that hits people at every income level, because spending has a way of quietly rising to meet whatever comes in. There's actually a term for why this happens, the hedonic treadmill. It's the idea that humans reset to the same baseline happiness no matter how much they earn. So we're wired to always want a little more than we currently have. Which means the fix can't be just make more money, because more money without a plan just moves the treadmill. It doesn't turn it off. The savings first rule. So what actually breaks the cycle? Financial planners who study this, people like Ami Shah, a certified financial planner who works with this exact problem, will tell you the same thing over and over. It's not about earning more. It's about deciding where the money goes before it lands. Pay yourself first. Before rent. Before the car. Before the coffee. The moment your paycheck hits, a fixed chunk, even 10%, moves somewhere you don't casually touch. Not because 10 is a magic number, but because it changes the order of the math. Right now, you spend first and save whatever's left. And spoiler, for most people, especially with prices where they've been the last couple of years, nothing's ever left. So flip it. Save first, spend what's left. Same income, same bills, but now 10% of every single check belongs to future you before present you gets a vote. That's not a hack. That's just reordering the equation. Before I show you exactly where that 10% should go, quick ask. If this is making sense so far, hit that like button. It genuinely helps this get in front of more people who are stuck in the same loop. Okay, back to the math, where the money actually goes. So where does that 10% go? Here's the part that actually changes your future, and it's not your salary. It's time. It's called compound interest, and it's the reason your 20s matter more than your 40s, even though you have way less money right now than you will later. Let's run real numbers, not rounded for drama once. If you invest $200 a month starting at 25, and it grows at a fairly standard long-term average of 7% a year, which is roughly what a broad U.S. stock index has returned historically after inflation-adjusted assumptions, by the time you're 65, you're looking at somewhere around $525,000. You only put in about 96,000 of that yourself. The other 429,000, that's time, doing the work you didn't have to do. Start the same 200 a month at 35 instead. Same return, same discipline. And by 65, you'd have roughly 244,000. Less than half. Same effort, same monthly amount. Just a 10-year delay, and you lose over half the outcome. That's not a rounding error. That's the entire lesson. Your 20s are expensive because they're precious. Every month you wait isn't just that month's $20 or $200. It's decades of growth attached to it that never gets the chance to happen. So here's your move. Not a lecture, a number. Write down your actual take-home pay. Track everything you spend for 1 month, no judgment. Find one thing to redirect, even $50. Pay yourself first, and let time do the heavy lifting it's built to do. If you want the exact breakdown of where that money should go, index funds, emergency funds, all of it, tell me in the comments, and I'll make that video next. Subscribe, future you will thank present you. I'll see you in the next one.